It's coming. Okay, there we are. Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dale Walsh, the poetic warrior of the mental health warriors, and uh, welcome to the fourth episode of Straight, Sane and Sober. And today I am very honored and blessed to have as our guest the mental health warrior queen, the warrior queen of the mental health warriors, Kerry Duval, who is also happens to be the wife and of mental health warrior Adam Duval, who started this whole movement, which extends from Australia through Europe to England and ultimately to Hackensack, New Jersey, to where I am. And we're looking to start a worldwide movement of mental health awareness and insight to overcome the stigma and of mental illness. And I just like to say thank you very much for joining us and welcome, Kerry. It's great to have you. I mostly deal with Adam, so I'm looking forward to getting to know you a lot more. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks. It's a bit weird not being in the horse seat, but we've got to support. I've got to support the other warriors, so I'm supporting you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to know you a little bit.
Well, I've been interviewed by Adam basically 3 times, and so I know him pretty well. But as his better half, I'm definitely interested in finding out about your story, and so we'll try this. I don't know if it's going to work, but because my knowledge of England versus America is very limited, but so. Let me see. We'll start with Adam's favorite, which is do you believe in pineapple on pizza?
Yeah, I do. I love pineapple on pizza. Adam hates it.
That's what I got the impression. So okay, so we'll
I
just
love landing.
uh, so who Liverpool or Manchester? Liverpool or Manchester? Or you're a little frozen at the moment. Well, we get our technical difficulties solved.
Liverpool.
I'm not too familiar with the English soccer league or football league, so you'll have to tell me what your favorite team is, and I'll understand better. You are frozen at the moment, so we okay. Well, while we wait, I'll tell a little bit about myself. I'm a recovered schizophrenic, and I'm also the producer of an archive of 4,000 poems. And I got involved with the mental health warriors about 3 months ago through an interview with Adam, and it's been a very fulfilling and exciting journey with him so far. And Kerry is the I don't know if I should say the brain behind the movement, but it is a movement that's directed towards an international audience, and hopefully you'll be able to join us and support us. Okay, I think we got.
I don't know what the hell's going on. Oh.
Okay, it looks like we're better. So I am just showing my naivete about English soccer, English football, but Liverpool or Manchester, those are
Liverpool.
okay.
Definitely Liverpool.
Go Beatles.
Oh yeah.
And is that your favorite team, or who's your favorite team?
Liverpool, yeah, it's my favourite team. I love Steven Gerrard, who's Rangers manager at the moment in Scotland.
Oh, okay. Because when Adam asked me that, I just said Liverpool because that was the only team I knew, and he gave me one of his looks, and I'm like going, oh, but okay. So, would you rather vacation in Hawaii or Antigua or Saint Martin or the Bahamas?
Hawaii.
I'm the same way.
I'd like to go to Hawaii, yeah.
I want to have my honeymoon in Hawaii. And maybe someday you and Adam can take a second honeymoon in Hawaii.
Not even the first one, yeah?
Okay, well, the first one, that's even better.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. What about, well, I know peanut butter or peanut butter or uh, or cereal.
Cereal. I don't like peanut butter. Can't stand it.
I never liked peanut butter when I was growing up, but then I developed a taste for it. So people said, because I always liked peanuts, but I never liked peanut butter. So just like coffee. So coffee or tea?
I like both. I'll mix between them both, depending on the mood.
Well, what do you use to wake up in the morning, coffee or tea? Or both?
Mainly coffee.
Okay. I think that's 4 questions. So 5 is Hackensack or London?
London.
Okay, well, I guess that was pretty obvious, but I love Hackensack. Actually, I went to school for a year outside in Haileybury in Hertfordshire for a year, and I took the A level, and I only did 1 year of A level of study, and I still got 3 A levels. So I was pretty happy about that. But okay, well, why don't we now that we've got those out of the way? I just I don't want to like dwell. Well, would you like to tell us a little bit about your past, or do you I know you've done other interviews, so why don't you just give us like a quick summary of your life and what's going on?
Yeah. So my name's Kerry. I'm a mum and a wife, and obviously the warrior queen. Growing up, I grew up with my mum and my dad, 3 brothers and 2 sisters. It was not a very good childhood. My mum's a narcissist, so obviously she was abusive. And when I was 16, I lost my granddad to cancer, sadly. And then 3 years ago, I lost my nana to cancer also. And that's when I hit rock bottom for the first time and attempted suicide. Luckily, obviously, it wasn't successful. Adam stopped me and saved me. And since then, I knew that I had to sort myself out and face the challenges from my past. And that's when I started on my mental health journey.
And you said your mom abused you, but what about your siblings? What about your brothers and sisters? Were they sympathetic, or were they abusive too, or what was it? I mean, was it coming and was it at school, or just that you were bullied, or did you get support from your brothers and sisters, or not?
No, basically, my family's a bit dysfunctional. I'm the only child from my mum and dad's marriage. So obviously I've got 2 brothers on my dad's side and a brother and 2 sisters on my mum's side. They could do no wrong. And me and my 2 brothers from my dad's side, were the black sheep of the family, basically. I got the brunt of it after my mum chucked my brothers out on the streets. So obviously I had nobody to sort of complain other than my dad. I got bullied all the way through school. I got called basically every name under the sun. I had braces that opened up and a load more in boots, and I hated school.
But you said in your biography that after you like started studying about your mental health, that your passion for learning has really like turned around, and you noticed that I noticed that you say you're going for 2 certificates in the next 12 months. So obviously you've like changed your attitude towards learning. And what are those certificates and what do they involve?
So the first one is counselling skills, which I'm doing at the moment. And the next one is going to be mental health first aid, but the level 2 certificate. And then further on than that, I'm going to be doing the level 3 certificate so I can help people even more.
Well, and now, do you have plans on like sort of setting up some sort of like program for people? I meant, because of my history with schizophrenia, I'm now a coach for the families of schizophrenia. So, do you have like plans for like branching out and like reaching out to people so you can help them, or are you just going to let it come to you, or what plans are those?
So basically, it'll be like Adam. We'll still be doing the mental health warriors, and one of the branches from the mental health warriors is coaching. It's coaching sessions, so there won't be just Adam that's offering the coaching sessions. It'll be me as well.
That's very admirable, and I applaud your turnaround about learning, because I've always been like very intensively pursuing studies and everything. Even when I was in my first mental hospital, I read the complete works of Nietzsche. So even though I was passing out because of the medication, and but. So one thing that I'm very interested in is you're very proud of what a mother you become, of your accomplishments as a mother. And you have a daughter and a son. The son is 9 years old. There he is. And your daughter is 8, you said, and one of them happens to be autistic. So. Well, your boy. So, what would you say is like the greatest? Well, I know I'm sure there are a lot of great moments, but what would you say is the greatest accomplishment you've had as a mother? And also, what is the greatest challenge that you've run across? You're muted.
The greatest challenge would be got autism. Oh, hang on a minute.
There, you're good now.
Right. Oh no, hang on. Are we there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah. When Lucas found out, when we found out Lucas has autism, that was very, very challenging, because obviously, as a mother, I thought having a little boy, he'd be able to grow up and do all these great things, and I just wanted the best for him. And then when I heard the word autism, I just thought, oh my God, because I didn't know anything about it. It was sort of like, what do we do now? And then obviously I did a lot of research into it. 1 minute. Adam! Right. Oh, my phone's going off. Adam can get it. So I would say I did a lot of research about autism, and found out that him having autism isn't going to be a barrier for him. It's going to actually open so many more doors for him, because every autistic person has a superpower. So obviously we had to find out what Lucas's was. Well, now we know it's maths. is a human calculator. My greatest achievement, I don't know. I think it's the fact that I've got a 9-year-old and an 8-year-old, and they're healthy, happy, brilliant kids, and they're doing really well in school.
And that's all because of your great parenting, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, I admire that, and that brings up Adam, and I'd like to hear a little more about your storybook life and romance and marriage to Adam, because I am sure that everybody who's tuning in knows about the mental health warriors, and I'm just like overcome with like admiration with your determination and Adam's determination to make this thing like really expand, and the way you've expanded Warrior TV and everything. So could you tell us like give us a little history of like your romance and of Adam's courting and romance with you, because I think that would be of great interest to everybody.
Yeah. I met Adam nearly 13 years ago now. We met doing a training course. So it was a training course to go into work, and we met on there, and we started just talking it online, and then over text messages and phone calls. We'd spend 2, 3, 4, 5 hours on the phone. Don't know what the phone bills were like, but they must have been sky high. But, our first date was he took me to a takeaway and got us both chicken and chips, and we sat on a wall in the rain eating together. That was our first date. And then after that, he took me to a cinema, and we had a really good cinema date.
Do you remember the movie?
Yeah, it was Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Oh, that's with Brad Pitt, right?
No. Oh, yeah, I think it is Brad Pitt. Yeah, it is Brad Pitt.
It's about the guy who ages backwards, right?
Yeah.
I heard that was a very good movie. So did you and Adam draw any mutual lessons from that, or was there like a bond immediately, or?
We knew from all the phone calls that there was a lot of similarities between me and him. We liked a lot of the same things. We had a lot of the same values in life. So when we both wanted, basically away from the families we had, we wanted to get away from them and start on our own, and then branch out from there. So obviously after 18 months together, we found our first house. And it was basically after we'd moved in, we'd lived in there for a few months, we flipped a coin whether we could get married next or start a family. And we started a family.
Okay, well, that was it. But and how long after you started the family did you get married?
We've only been married this year.
Oh, okay.
And he's 9, so.
Well, so it's been a 13-year romance and a 1-year marriage, correct?
Well, not a year yet. It's less than 6 months. So.
Have you noticed any change? Has the relationship gotten deeper because of the marriage, or any major changes that you noticed, or what?
Yeah. I think that Adam's definitely changed since we've got married. He's more loving and more romantic. We've made sure to include date nights twice a week. So we'll just obviously ignore our phones, ignore the laptop, and focus on each other and being a couple. And I love them nights.
I think that's extremely important, and I think it's extremely wise, because sometimes, especially with 2 children, you get like so caught up in the day-to-day machinations of like just taking care of things, that sometimes the romance gets lost. And to have 2 date nights a week, is like a crucial. I'm sure it's a crucial part to the success of your marriage.
It is, yeah. I mean, obviously, we've gone through good times, we've gone through bad times, so we're not a perfect relationship. And like Adam said in the comments, this pandemic has taught us a lot about each other, and we've got to know each other again.
Right. Well, I heard a statistic one time about marriage is that the reason that like most marriage fail is because it basically takes 15 years for a married couple to really get to know each other. I don't know if you believe in that, but
So,
to like really be in comfort with each other and everything. But that's just I just heard a psychologist say that one time, so it's not necessarily true.
I think because we waited 12 years to get married, and we've gone through the bad times and the good times and the really testing times, I think we do know each other a lot. And then obviously throughout the lockdowns, we got to know each other again. So it was sort of like right at the start of the relationship, we went back to that. We'd ask each other questions and just throw questions to each other with a takeaway. We sat there for a few hours and talked like we did when we were teenagers. And it just rekindled everything.
Right. Well, you got 13 years under your belt, so you aren't that far from the 15 that the psychologist was talking about.
Yeah, I think we're going to go the distance.
I do too. I think that you complement each other and that your vision is like so powerful that you really reinforce your love for each other through the pursuit of the mental health warriors.
Yeah. The Mental Health Warriors is mine and Adam's baby. It was
Right.
Adam's first, but it's mine as well now. So.
Well, that's actually next week I am interviewing Adam here on Straight, Sane and Sober. But one thing that I want to sort of differentiate is between do you have like an identical vision for the mental health warriors and where it's going, or do you have like different ideas about where you want it ultimately to end up?
I think we've got the same ideas. We want it to be as good as we can get for mental health warriors and to branch out as much as we can. I mean, obviously, we've already got all the warriors doing their own shows or helping other warriors do shows. So obviously, we've got 13 active warriors. We want to try and do more coaching sessions and then maybe take the mental health warriors into schools and do mental health workshops.
That sounds and that's a great short to medium term goals. But I mean, with me with my coaching, I have like a vision of like having like a coaching school for those with mental health diagnoses who can then go out and help these families with specific diagnoses. I mean, so I would be, sort of like the mental health warriors, but I have a similar warrior. I see Adam has asked a question. What has the pandemic taught you about yourself?
It's a good question, actually. I think it's taught me that I am stronger than what I thought I am, and I can deal with a lot more than I think I could. It's definitely taught me that when I hit rock bottom, I know who's there for me and who isn't.
And so, how did I'm sort of how did the pandemic play out in United Kingdom? How long was the lockdown? And I know that I see the news reports, but I don't really pay that much attention to the news because I think it's a bad influence. But so how did the pandemic play out in England, and is it still relevant, or are there still lockdowns, or what?
At the moment, no, there's no restrictions, no lockdowns. Life's pretty much gone back to normal, whatever normal is.
Right.
It started March 2020 when the first lockdown, a few days after Adam's birthday. We were in lockdown, I think, for about 3 or 4 months. I might be wrong on the time scales, but then we sort of came out. There was a traffic light system where certain areas were in complete lockdown, other areas were in like a semi-lockdown. So some shops were open, some shops weren't, and the area that I was in complete lockdown. So it felt like we was in lockdown for about 7, 8, 9 months, and it was really bad.
Right.
But obviously now there's nothing. There's talks of another lockdown. Fingers crossed there isn't another lockdown. I can't stand another lockdown.
Well, one thing that happened. There are two things that happened during lockdown with families and couples in the United States. Either it really brought them closer together, or it really alienated them. And there was like a big rise in domestic violence during the lockdown because I guess people just get claustrophobic and no relief from the same situation and everything. So I know I'm sure that for you it was the first choice that it deepened the bond with you and Adam. But do you have any like ideas or insights about what you would say to someone who was going through lockdown and was having like the negative effects?
Well, at the start of it, it did go sour for me and Adam. And I remember having the conversation with Adam that when lockdown finished, he was going to find his own house and we were going to co-parent the kids. But then obviously, while we were in lockdown, we sort of sorted it out and rekindled everything. So it sort of went two different ways for us. But for anybody that went through the whole of lockdown and it turned sour, I feel that pain because I know what abuse feels like. I know what it's like to have that controlling person around, and you want so much just to scream at them and hit them, but you know that that's not the right idea. And then you've got to sort of find ways of how to deal with that. I do know a few couples who come out of lockdown and did separate.
And it also is like, at least in the United States, now that the pandemic, like restrictions are like loosening, it's really put a strain on the mental health system because not only are there the old people who we're dealing with, but the pandemic has really emphasized and brought out mental health issues for a lot of people who either were too busy or just in denial about the situation that they were in.
Yeah. Again, I mean, I know a few couples who went through it and argued quite a lot through lockdown, and it turned sour for them, and they did separate at the end of it. I know other relationships who were sour throughout it all, but still haven't separated, and is still quite toxic now.
Well, the thing about it is that it's really like taxed the system. I don't know if this is true in England, but it really has like totally taxed the system. The system was basically able to help America before the pandemic, and now we have like all these collateral damages from the pandemic in mental health and in people, and it's a really sad situation. And I don't know what the solution is, but the situation needs people like the mental health warriors who can, people can reach out to them. And I would like to encourage people, if you're having a problem, then the mental health warriors are, available through Messenger or, through Facebook and everything. and don't be afraid to reach out and say, I need help, because there's nothing wrong with asking for help. Vulnerability is a strength. It's a superpower. It's not a weakness.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did the video on World Mental Health Day, encouraging people to reach out and to talk to each other. It's okay not to be okay, and it doesn't mean asking for help doesn't mean that you're weak. It actually shows a lot of courage and strength to say, "I need help."
Right. Well, Adam has a question. It says, uh, you've been you have to question, how much do you know your partner when you have been with them so long? Me and Kerry have got to know each other by letting our barriers down and became closer than ever. And I think that applies, that putting down barriers applies not only to couples but also to individuals, where people, they were forced to put down their barriers, and they're seeing themselves as, and many people see themselves, if they have mental issues, as weak, because of the training of society and the stigma that society breaks. And that's
Yeah.
really what mental health warriors want to stop, is the stigma, right?
Yeah, there is a lot of stigma around mental health because obviously it's still, when somebody says that they're struggling with their mental health, that they feel down and just want to cry all the time, there still can be those judgmental people out there that just obviously say, we can just say to them, mental health doesn't discriminate. It affects anybody, and it can affect anybody at any point in their life. Think about if it was you that was sitting alone in your room or in your house, whatever, and you just felt like crying all the time. You didn't want to leave the house, you didn't want to eat, and you were struggling with thoughts in your mind of wanting to hurt yourself, wanting to end your life. That's where mental health can take you. It can take you into a dark place. And that's why we wanted to do the mental health warriors, to create a space where people could come and ask for help and get the right guidance, because then ultimately we can stop the stigma around mental health, get people talking about more, raise more awareness, and maybe stop a few suicides along the way.
Well, that's one of my big points. It's not necessarily the stigma of society that's dangerous so much as the self stigma. I mean, people are diagnosed and they get this label, and at first they're happy to know that there's something actually wrong with them, but then as time goes on and the label sticks, and I mean, in my case, I've been dealing with being a schizophrenic for 46 years. So it took me basically 35 years before I could stop thinking of myself as ill and see that illness was just a part of my personality and part of myself. And the self stigma, I've only recently really come to terms with it, in terms of, stop blaming yourself. There's no blame to be had. Uh, Mental illness is probably the most democratic disease in the world. It can happen to anybody, and that stigma not only it applies to the self but also to the families, and that's why I want to help the families of those affected by schizophrenia.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously we want to help the people that are affected by mental health. I seen a post on Facebook the other day. It was from a lorry driver, and she basically got stuck on the motorway because somebody had taken their life on the motorway bridge. A few cars in front of her, and her heart went out to the driver of the car that the person accidentally landed on, because obviously the driver has to deal with the fact that that memory is going to be stuck in their head, seeing somebody fall onto the hood of their car, and that's not going to be a nice vision to have. So obviously, that driver's mental health is probably now going to be affected, and then the mental health of the person's family is going to be affected, knowing that now they've lost a loved one.
Right. Well, one of the things that really horrifies people about my case is my first doctor in the mental hospital, after I was like a successful student at a very prestigious university. You know, I said to him, "Why am I here? There's nothing wrong with me." And he said, "Well, if you broke your leg, you come to the hospital, right, Dale?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Well, you broke your brain." And that thought got so deeply implanted in me that it's taken me, almost 40 years to and a bunch of research into neuroscience and how the brain works and everything. The brain is never broken. I mean,
Yeah.
you might have different perceptions, but there's no way the brain can be broken. And just coming to that realization was like a major step in my recovery, because obviously, the brain can heal. I mean, and when I was first diagnosed, schizophrenia was like a lifetime, that's why I call it a life sentence. Schizophrenia was a life sentence. It wasn't a death sentence, but the the idea of the psychiatric community was, once you're afflicted with this illness, you're never going to be able to get better. And that's a bunch of BS, because I'm a living example that you can get better. And that's why the motto of my company is recovery is always an option.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the guest I had on last night, Charles Mattox, obviously he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and he turned his life around and he's actually cured his diabetes to the point he doesn't have it now. And that's just like mental health. Just because you've got anxiety, depression, or schizophrenia doesn't mean that you can't get better. You can get better, you can turn your life around, and you can put the coping strategies into place and live a full life. And there's nothing stopping you but yourself.
Well, I think people don't realize how much work it is to recover from mental illness. I mean, it's easy to just say, okay, well, I got this and that, and I'm just going to feel so, get disability and sit on my butt and, and not try to work on myself. But to really, I mean, especially with my own journey with schizophrenia, I know how much work I've done and how much therapy and, how much medication I've taken, and and how I had to overcome so many paradigms of belief in my mind about myself to overcome the negative effects. But it is possible. It is an option, and but you have to be willing to put in the work.
Yeah, definitely. Last week I was down. It felt like I was down and life was kicking me while I was down. And there was days where I was in tears. I was in floods of tears all day long. Even doing normal housework that I would do every day. I was in tears doing them. And it took a lot of strength for me to say to Adam, I need some help here. And then on Saturday, Adam took me out shopping, and we did a little bit of Christmas shopping to try and cheer me up. And I said to Adam, I don't want to go home. I just didn't want to come home, and that's the way I felt. But obviously, Adam brought me home, and I got to put my bedroom Christmas tree up, and he's cheered me up, because now I wake up and I see my Christmas tree, and I love Christmas. Anyone that knows me knows I love Christmas, and I'm mad with Christmas. It might seem strange to have a Christmas tree in my bedroom, but I have done for the last couple of years, and I love my bedroom Christmas tree. I love the fact that I can now escape to my bedroom, put my gingerbread candle on, look at my tree, and have self-care.
Absolutely. So, was it a successful shopping trip? Did you do the shopping or not?
Yeah, we did the shopping, and I felt okay throughout the shopping because obviously the shopping was distracting me. But then when it came to ordering a taxi to go home at the end of it, that's when it tripped back to say that I was going home and I didn't want to come home. And I actually told Adam I don't want to go home.
I understand now. This is a little off the subject, but I see a comment by Graham Duval and says, but Dale's health problem has already taken a lifetime and still has a long way to go. And I agree with that, but that doesn't mean that for the first 20 years of my illness, Graham, my illness was like the dominant factor in my life. And now it's just like something that I'm proud to have overcome. And, I feel my future is limitless and I can do anything. And, so it has taken a lifetime. Well, it's taken 46 years out of 66 years, but it has taken a lifetime. But the life that I'm leading now is so much more of such higher quality than it was when I got sick. And that's what makes it worth it. So I just wanted to throw that in. I saw that in the comments.
Yeah, and obviously, Dale, you're a warrior. Well, otherwise, you wouldn't be part of the mental health warriors. So now, going forward, there's nothing that you won't be able to do because you're a warrior.
Absolutely. Well, I always consider myself a warrior. So I'm just glad to have finally found an organization where we can all be warriors together.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's brilliant how we can mention in the chat, I'm feeling a bit rubbish today, I'm feeling a bit low, and every single warrior will jump in and send them love and say, if you want to chat, reach out to me. And and Karen Unruh, who was on earlier on, I've spoken to her a couple of times, obviously away from the chat, but she's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. She's helped me with a few things. Changed my perspective on a couple of things. Steve Knapp, he's brilliant as well. I've spoken to him away. And Kerry Bear as well.
Well, speaking of Steve Knapp, tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. UK time, he'll be back with his show, The Power Hour of Mindfulness. And I don't know, Adam didn't mention who the special guest was, but Steve is like so positive and such a great interviewer, and I think he recently interviewed you, right, Kerry?
He did, yeah. A few weeks ago. Adam, you might have to help me out with how long ago. But yeah, he's amazing. And I'm due on Steve and Tessa's show on my birthday, thanks to Adam.
Great.
Yeah. I don't even get a day off on my birthday.
I find out on my birthday I'm so busy celebrating that I'm working twice as hard as I usually do,
Yeah.
But, so let me I just this is perhaps a final question, but what most impresses you about the mental health warriors and their mission? Well, actually, let me ask you first. Do you foresee the mental health warriors as becoming a worldwide movement in conjunction with other mental health organizations to synergize to become a force to really turn the perception of mental health around?
Yeah, the mental health warriors are currently in the process of linking up with the Campfire Project in Australia. We're in talks with the admin of them to link us up. We want the mental health warriors to reach as many people as possible, so we can help as many people as possible. And there's so many other brilliant mental health organisations out there, as you said, that we can link up with. So the opportunities are endless for the mental health warriors. I'm so proud of how far we've come. I mean, we hit 10,000, and our next aim is obviously 20,000, and we're on 12,000 at the moment. So every single one of our 1,039 likers on Facebook are sharing our content, and we're reaching so many people.
Well, the reason I'm like so taken with your vision and your determination and the way the mental health warriors are progressing is that every organization starts small. But Adam's given all these mental health warriors the outlet to express themselves and to, build the audience. And 10,000, you said, right?
12,000.
Well, 12,000 now, but the 10,000 was like the big mark that you wanted to make. So,
Yeah.
I just feel like blessed and happy that I can be at the foundation of the mental health warriors and, really do everything I can to contribute and to, help the cause. And I plan on like getting American organizations involved in them too. And I just want to say that your vision, both the vision of both you and Adam together, is like giving a new impetus to the desire to the power to end stigma in the world. And I really admire you both.
Yeah, thanks. I'm proud of myself because if you'd have asked me 12 months ago, would you be a regular on Facebook and YouTube going out live talking about your story? I'd have gone, not a chance. Not in a million years. But look at me now.
I had a revelation about a year ago, and people talk about fear of success, fear of failure, fear of rejection, and everything. I did a meditation, and I opened my eyes, and the word exposure came into my head, and I said, "That's it. That's my greatest fear is exposure," and that's why I've basically been sitting in Hackensack for 46 years by myself. But exposure is absolutely necessary and it's a positive thing, and the more you can like overcome yourself and show be vulnerable in public, the more it encourages other people to do the same.
Yeah. One thing that Adam taught me was the word fail is first attempt in learning.
Right.
So don't be afraid to fail because fail means first attempt in learning. Get up, go again.
Well, that ties into the philosophy that there is no success without failure. Failure is an absolute necessary part of success because you learn from success or failure, and you can learn and turn yourself around. And success is always the next step after failure. And failure is something that the universe throws at you to test you to see if you're worthy of success.
Yep. Yep. And hitting rock bottom as well. When you hit rock bottom, you really learn more about yourself as a person and how strong you can be. Because then once you've hit rock bottom, you get up, you dust yourself off, and you become a stronger person, and then it changes you.
Right.
I can't describe it, but when you hit rock bottom and you get yourself back up, that journey of hitting rock bottom to getting yourself back up, that journey changes you. It opens your eyes to so many things. It opens your eyes to who's in your life, what you can do to change your life going forwards. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend hitting rock bottom. It's not a very nice place, but it happens. That, as the mental health warriors say, hashtag never quit.
Right. Well, I know what you say. Every time I hit bottom, I've had 15 hospitalizations from 1975 to 1993, and basically I've been down to the hospital for 30 years now. But every time I went to the hospital, it was like a transformational experience because I would like get strong and I'd like get all the issues out, and then I come out and be much stronger. And one of the things that I'm most proud and thankful and grateful for is that I was hospitalized 15 times and I got out 15 times.
Exactly. And you've changed your life around now.
Well, I feel my life is like 1,000% better than it was even like 2 years ago. So that's basically when I started my coaching business. So just like the knowledge I've gained about myself and the constant desire to learn and to grow and to find out about what's happening in this world right now, because they say we're switching from three-dimensional to 3D to 5D. And just that whole process, which was emphasized by the pandemic, by COVID, is like the world is changing, and if you try to stay on secure ground, you're going to get thrown to the ground.
Yep. You have to take every opportunity as it comes and jump at it.
And you also have to be willing to change.
Yep.
But,
definitely.
Okay, well, I think Adam wants me to remind everybody to subscribe to the station, to subscribe to Warrior TV. We're basically on a shoestring budget, so you can donate if you like what you see, and you like to donate to help the cause. This is all self-funded, basically by you and Adam, right, Kerry?
Yep.
So I mean, you're doing a fantastic job, and basically it's selfless at this point. But I would encourage people, if you like what you see or what you feel or would like to get in touch with the Mental Health Warriors on one hand, but if you want to contribute, any contribution can be sent to. Tell me this if I'm wrong, but it's MH Warrior
99@gmail.com. That's the PayPal thing. Or if you message the page and want the PayPal link, we can send it to you.
And I would encourage everybody who cares about mental health to support the whole organization of Mental Health Warriors, because we're here to help and we're here to change the world. And this is a movement that is in its very inception. And if you get in now, then there's no telling how far we'll be able to take you. And I'd just like to thank you very much, Kerry, for showing up for me. And next week on Mental Health Warrior, Tuesday, I think the date is the 26th. Tuesday the 26th at 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 8 p.m. UK time. I don't know about the Australian time, but basically, my guest, we'll have the other your other half next week, Kerry. We're going to actually be interviewing.
I'm the better half.
I'm going to be interviewing the famous Adam Duval, and trying to keep my wits about me because he's always testing me, so, but it's a good test. So, and thank you very much. And do you have any closing thoughts or desires to say something?
No, that's it. Other than thank you for having me. You've been brilliant, and I'm the better half.
You are the better half.
I am.
And congratulations on all your success as a mother and as a wife. And I know that you and Adam are in it for the long run. And just keep up the good work, and love you, and go mental health warriors, and keep
Yeah.
keep up the faith and keep going.
Yeah, we'll all keep going because our motto is #never quit.
Absolutely. And my hashtag is recovery is always an option.
Yeah. So
So
we'll just leave it at that then.
they work
#never quit and #recovery is always an option.
so I think they work together well.
They do, yeah.
So okay, Kerry. Well, thanks very much, and I will see you all next week, everybody. And thank you for attending. And as I say, my guest will be Adam Duval. So have a great day or a great night, and take care. And look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you, Dale. Bye.
Bye, Kerry. Thanks very much.
Bye.